Hello. So today we're looking at compound interest. All right. So before we get into the problems, let's have a look at the formulas involved with compound interest, or the ones we'll be looking at. So the main one is this one right here, this red one. PV equals A over 1 plus I raised to the power NT. So what do all these letters mean? So PV is the present value of our investment. A is the total amount that's earned. I is the interest calculated per compounding periods. We'll get into that in a moment. N is the compounding period. And T is the investment period. All right. So the idea here is that we have some money that we want to invest. So that would be our present value. No, not our present value. That's our principal. Sorry, that's our principal. Our present value depends on, our present moment. So the total earned is A after whatever period of time. I is our interest calculated per compounding period. So if we scroll over to the right, we'll see our possible compounding periods are some of the more common ones. So simple interest, everything was annual. So everything was over a 1 year period. So the interest was over a year. But with these compounding periods, now the interest is calculated at different time points. So for example, every year, that would be annual, semi-annual every 2 years. Sorry, twice a year. Quarterly is 4 times a year. Monthlies every month, so 12 times a year. Bi-weeklies every 2 weeks, so 26 times a year. Weeklies every week, obviously, so 52 times, and dailies every single day, so 365 times in a year. So that is our N value. So these are the different, I don't want to say they're the only compounding periods, but they're the more common compounding periods. Now, T is the investment period. So over what period of time is this investment earning you money? So I don't know, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20. That's what T is. All right. And our interest calculator per compounding period, that we can calculate. Usually we're given an annual interest rate. And so if it's semi-annual, we're going to divide it by 2. If it's quarterly, we'll divide that value by 4. If it's daily, we will divide that value by 365. Okay, so what else do we have here? So our orange formula here is the amount. That's A. So how do we find that? This is where our principal, the original amount of money that we're investing, comes in, and we multiply that by 1 plus I raised to the power NT. So again, I is our interest calculated per compounding period. N is our compounding period. T is our investment period. And finally, I is our annual rate over the number of our compounding period. So again, as I mentioned, our interest rate is 5% annually, but our compounding period is monthly. Then I is going to be 5 divided by 12, or the annual interest rate, so 0.05 divided by 12. Okay, so there's quite a bit of information there. So armed with all of that, let's look at our first problem or exercise and see what we get. So $3,000 is placed in an account at 5% compounded quarterly for 5 years. How much is in the account at the end of 5 years? Okay, so our principal, so $3,000 is what's placed into account. So that's our principal. Our interest rate, annual interest rate, is 5%, and it's compounded quarterly. So N equals 4. Our investment period is 5 years. And what is the amount in the account after 5 years? Okay, so it looks like we're looking for A. What do you think? Let's go back. Yes, we're looking for the amount. So let's write that formula out. A equals the present value times 1 plus I raised to the power NT. Now let's figure out what I is. So I equals our our interest rate over our compounding period. So our interest rate, 5% or 0.05 over 4. That's I, so we can punch that into our calculator if we really want. And we get I equals 0.0125. Okay, so let's plug everything in. So our principal is 3,000. 1 plus this tiny little number, 0.0125. N is 4, T is 5. And let's see what we get. 3,000 times 1.0125 raised to the power 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, let's see what we get. 1.0125 raised to the power of 20. Interesting. Times our 3,000. We end up with $3,846.11. So that is the amount in the account at the end of 5 years. Okay, good. All right. Let's have a look at this question. The next one. Find the following amount. $950 invested at 3.75% per year, compounded bi-weekly for 12 years. All right. Let's write down everything we have. We have our principal amount, the amount we started with. We have our interest rate, which is 3.75 for annual interest rate, 3.75. We're compounding bi-weekly, so that means N equals 26. And our investment period is 12 years, so T equals 12. All right, so let's figure out what I is. I is R over N. R is 0.0375. N is 26. So let's see if we can. Okay, so that's not the prettiest number. It's approximately 0.001442. Okay, let's leave it at that for now. Now we want to find out the amount. So A equals P, principal amount, times 1 plus I raised to the power NT. Let's plug everything in and see what we get. So 950 times 1 plus 0.0375 over 26 times N times T. What is N? So 26 times 12 is a big number. Okay, so let's see what we get. 26 times 12. 26 times 12 is actually, let's just write that out. It's 312. Okay, so let's do some arithmetic. Okay, so brackets here, we have 1.00144, okay. And we're going to raise that value to the power 312. And we get 1.5678. We're going to multiply that by 950. And we end up with 1,489.41. So the final amount after 12 years of compounding bi-weekly, making a mess of everything here again, bi-weekly at 3.7, so $950 invested at 3.75% per year, compounded bi-weekly for 12 years. At the end of the 12 years, we have $1,489.41. Okay, so let's have a look at that solution. Good, so we have to find our N, our compounding period, or the and the associated N is 26. Our investment time period is 12. Principal amount is 950. We have to find our interest. I is R over N, so 0.0375 over 26. We get this decimal, and we plug it into our formula, And we do our arithmetic, and we end up with $1,489.41. That brings us to the end of our session. If you have any questions, please send us a note at info@raisemanmarks.com or give us a call day or evening, and we will be happy to help. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.